Hello and welcome back to BEBB and welcome to another Let's Get Deeper episode. Now on the sofa we've had a number of guests who have come on here talking about how much they juggle, all the different things that they do, whether it be being a parent, being an entrepreneur, being a person within the corporate world, loads of different things. Now the woman that we have on the sofa today is another boss woman who does so many different things. I consider her superwoman, quite literally, because she's just super in every way possible. She is a top model, she is a businesswoman, she is an entrepreneur, she is a humanitarian, an activist, and of course, she is a beautiful mother as well. I've got the wonderful, the gorgeous, the fabulous Lisette Mibo.
Because I'm so passionate about social science and, learning human behavior and society and how different factors affect our behavior and how we move forward in life.
Right.
And that's also links to my humanitarian work, which is social service, working with the children in the Congo situation. So that's really is my passion. Make friends, and then you have those that are very quiet and they struggle.
What were you? Which one were you?
I was from Kinshasa, Congolese.
So you had the confidence.
Yes.
You mean? Okay.
Many children in the streets of the Congo is that when they experience all those abuse and when they do escape, they don't have nowhere to go. So what they do is they roam around the streets, they walk around until they get tired and a group of kids find them and you end up on the street. Timing is very important, doing things at the right time, and it's really important. And yeah, so as I said, mentioned earlier, I'm not really modeling as much because my priorities have kind of changed. But I still want to remain in the fashion industry because I don't do fashion, I am fashion.
BEBB presents Let's Get Deeper with your host, Nissy T.
Hello and welcome back to BEBB and welcome to another Let's Get Deeper episode. Now on the sofa we've had a number of guests who have come on here talking about how much they juggle, all the different things that they do, whether it be being a parent, being an entrepreneur, being a person within the corporate world, loads of different things. Now the woman that we have on the sofa today is another boss woman who does so many different things. I consider her superwoman, quite literally, because she's just super in every way possible. She is a top model, she is a businesswoman, she is an entrepreneur, she is a humanitarian, an activist, and of course, she is a beautiful mother as well. I've got the wonderful, the gorgeous, the fabulous Lisette Mibo. How are you?
I am good. Wow, what an introduction.
Listen, we have to because you are so amazing.
Thank you.
In so many different ways. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. And you look amazing.
Oh my God, listen, I was literally just looking at you thinking the exact same thing. The choker, African print, I love it. Always representing.
Yes.
And then the yellow and the white, you look beautiful. You look gorgeous.
The weather's lovely.
Yeah,
so
the weather's you're actually reflecting.
Spring.
Yeah, really springy. And then there's me who's like, I am so into dark clothing. So
it's amazing, I love it.
Yeah, having that is a bit awkward. It's a bit awkward. But anyway, so as I mentioned before, you do a whole bunch of different things. Okay, but one thing that I do have to say, and I've got to let the people know, is the fact that one, you are Congolese.
Yes.
I just have to let people know because I'm Congolese. So for me, that is, something incredible to see someone that is out there that's doing all of these incredible things and you are killing it, smashing it, and you're Congolese as well. But you were born, from what I know and understand, you were born back in Congo. You came here when you were 14, if I'm correct.
Perfect.
So tell me a little bit about your childhood, growing up. What was that like?
Oh wow, I can literally remember like yesterday. Congo is magical, it is amazing. Well, my story is I came when I was 14, I stayed in the Congo, I was 4. My mother came in the UK with my family and they were going to bring me back later. So I spent 10 years in Congo and that was fantastic. I was moving around from home to home. I stayed mainly with my grandmother and so I can imagine running barefoot, the sand and the music and, the education, the school experience, amazing. So, despite everything that's happening in our home, the instability and so forth, however, every time I go back, when I land, it's just a different feeling.
How often do you go back?
I'd go once or twice a year.
Oh, that's amazing.
Because of my charity work, so.
Which we're going to get into a little bit later on because as I mentioned before, so you do like humanitarian work, you do activism basically.
Of course, yeah.
And you're very, very passionate and I use that word for a reason. So we're going to come into that a little bit later on. One thing that I did want to ask you was, making that transition. So obviously you were back home, you were living a life that was familiar to you. You know, you wake up, you eat, you sleep, you know, you kind of know you have your routine, and then you come to the UK. How was that for you? How was making that transition?
It was frightening. Obviously, I was excited. You know, it was time for me to go to London. You know, when you're living in a country you hate it. I mean, I admire it now because I'm away from home.
Oh, wow.
But when you're leaving there, because, you know, you're just like, oh, I want to get out of here. I want to enjoy my family. I miss my family. So when it was like, oh, you're going to England, I'm like, yes. I was really happy, excited, 14-year-old, you know. So when I came here, it was very, 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 very scary. You know, new country, English. It was big buildings. I'm like, oh my God.
I can imagine.
So when I came, it was in year 10. So we're just ready doing GCSEs and I didn't speak no English.
Oh my goodness. So wait, you were literally thrown into GCSE with no English. That must have been so hard. Oh my goodness. How did you like deal with that?
But let's look on the bright side. One thing I did so well compared to all my other friends is that I got an A star in French.
Oh wow! Oh well. Okay.
Let's just keep it like that.
Just in case people don't really know and understand, essentially, Congo, they speak French there as well. Mostly Belgian French, but we're not going to go into that because we were colonized by the Belgians. But I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not mad anymore. We're going to let it go.
We're still mad. We still need reparation, but we're going to leave that for now.
We'll talk about that at the time. But so essentially, a lot of people do speak French there. So naturally.
So I came here and I got A star French.
And since then,
and since then, so obviously other subjects didn't do so well because of the language barrier. But I stayed in school and I did sixth form, and then after that I went to college and I went to university and I studied criminology with sociology.
Amazing.
Because I'm so passionate about social science and, you know, learning human behavior and society and how different factors affect our behavior and how we move forward in life. And that's also links to my humanitarian work, which is social service, you know, working with the children in the Congo situation. So that's really is my passion. And then so
wow. And I think one thing as well is that people underestimate how difficult that transition is, because obviously I grew up in a very multicultural school, so I had loads of different people that, you know, came over, some as refugees, some who were just coming over because they wanted to try something new, have a better start to life. But do you also feel like people underestimate the kind of impact it has on children moving from a different country and having to adapt to this whole new culture?
Yeah, of course, especially in secondary school. You know, you're going through pubic adolescence, you know, puberty. So already he has his own anxiety and confusion and getting to know yourself. So imagine that awkwardness when you're young, you're a teenager, and then now moving to a different setting. You don't know the language, you don't know the people. It's very awkward, and it does impact a lot on self-confidence and self-esteem. Obviously, you have children who are very self-confident and forward and they'll make friends, and then you have those that are very quiet and they struggle.
What were you? Which one were you?
I was from Kin. I'm from Kinshasa, Congolese.
So you had the confidence.
Yes.
You mean? Okay. I'm not playing with none of you.
You know, English for Africa, English for Congo. My name is Lisette, you know?
Is that where it ended? My name is
Lisette, and then that's it.
No, but that's an amazing thing though, that you could come with that confidence. Because like I said before, like you mentioned even, you know, that there are some people that come and they lose their confidence, they become quiet because they feel like, oh, I can't talk to anyone. So that's an amazing thing. So as I mentioned at the beginning, there are so many aspects of you which I feel is so beautiful, and I think it's also representative of the modern woman. The fact that there's not just one layer of a woman anymore. The modern woman is all an amalgamation of all these different things. And of course I mentioned that you are a top model. So we're going to go a little bit into that because I'm really excited to hear a bit more about, you know, your journey. So let's start by talking about Lisette, the model. So just to give you know, the people a bit of a background, you walked on a number of catwalks, including Africa Fashion Week in London in 2011, Congo Fashion Week as well, and you've even featured and graced a number of magazines, which I've seen the covers of. They are gorgeous. You are just honestly fabulous on each and every one of them, including Tropic magazine in South Africa, French magazine, Amina, Zen magazine, Diva Scribe, and the list goes on. Please tell us. You need to just tell us from the beginning, what was your journey? How did you even get into modeling?
Oh, great, thank you. Well, modeling has always been a passion of mine since a very young age. Even in my yearbook, You know, when I joined school, secondary school, you know, I spent 1 year because year 10 and year 11, so I get to know my school friends and my classmates. And at the end of the year, you know, they do a yearbook, and you have to guess where your friends are going to be in the future. And my one, they said the model. It's because the way I carried myself, and in my school, we didn't wear uniform. We had 3 colors we had to wear. Hornsey School for girls in North London. So we had 3 colors. We had white, actually 4, white, red, grey and black. So I was mixing, and you know, all this started to kind of
express yourself.
Within those colors.
Right.
So, and then I was doing college, you know, fashion designers would get me to model for their clothes and so forth. But professionally, I started when I had my daughter, my firstborn, in 2011, 4 months after I had her.
Wait, what? Okay, so, right, let's get this straight. So you have your first child, which I'm assuming can be quite overwhelming sometimes. Having your first child can be, you know, quite scary. And then within 4 months,
within 4 months, I was like, I need to do something. I was to a point where I was very stuck. You know, kind of like semi-depressed, and you know, for a pregnancy, like, oh my gosh, how do I move forward? What do I need to do? I need to do something that really excites me, I'm happy about, you know, so I wanted to find myself. So when I gave birth, I was just like, it clicked, you know. And then once you give birth as well, yes, you can go back physically, but then emotionally, sometimes you get stuck and you're a bit low in terms of esteem and confidence. So I needed to do something to boost that up. And then I searched online some modeling classes. So I attended a catwalk class, and then I did that, and then I got really positive feedback. And then they recommended some castings, and I networked with people, and then that's just how I go. And then 1 year later, I was on my way to Congo to model as an international Congolese model. I took part, one of the first models to take part in Africa Fashion Week London. I did that for 3 years, magazine covers, so it just took over.
Literally in like the space of a year. So everything just took off.
Everything
you started
just took
modeling
off. With a newborn.
Wow, with a newborn. That's amazing.
And I was studying as well, doing my second year university.
Oh my, wait, okay, right. This is why I say that you're superwoman, because so you were studying and doing your modeling, and from what it sounds like, you were probably traveling everywhere, going to different bookings and all that kind of stuff, and you were being a mother. How did you find, because obviously you did mention that you went through like a semi-depression, and that's where you kind of found modeling, but how did you then find it after, when you got started in all these different things? How did you even handle everything?
Just in a way, I summarize lightly, semi-depression in a way that I was just very low. Not that I was diagnosed with depression, but it was just I was very low, and very low place, and I needed to come out to do something like quite exciting to boost my, you know, we just love to do things to make ourselves feel great. And there's women as well who are just happy to not do anything, and they're comfortable with that, but I don't. I like to do things, and it makes me happy. So at the time, feeling very low, as I was feeling after giving birth, and of course when a woman gives birth as well, you kind of go through that feeling very low and so forth. So from that, that just kind of like fired me up, and I wanted to go and do it. And how I balance it is that women, we're naturally really good at time management. You know, we manage our times very well, and we multitaskers, and then so, and at the time as well, I was married. Very young, 22. No wonder why it didn't work out. Too busy.
So you used past tense. I was thinking, so you're no longer no longer
we're no
longer married. But you got married at 22.
Yeah, I was very young. And then I believe the man saw all the responsibilities in me, and it was just too much as a young woman, chasing all these things and balancing all these things. So I just really good at multitasking. You know, if I had for instance, I have a shoot at 9, I have to wake up at 5, sort out my house, sort out my daughter, drop it off at my mom, and then go and do it, and then come back and cook, and then study.
By this point, you were on your own now. So you were separated from your partner.
No. We were still together at that time. We were separated. I was 26.
So a little bit like later down the line. And did you find that he was supportive? Because there's a question, the only reason that I ask is because it's a question that I feel like a lot of women ask themselves as they move down in their career. A lot of women feel like, I need to maybe focus more on my marriage, or focus more on my family home. And I think maybe even it's maybe an older generation thing, because I feel like the younger generation are a bit different. Now we're kind of more, the women are more, I'm gonna do what I need to do and balance having a relationship. Whereas you see like a lot of like parents, after, you know, once they get kind of married and have kids, that's kind of it. But did you find that it was quite easy for you to to be like, no, I'm gonna go and do my own thing, and I'm gonna chase my dreams?
Of course, it was not easy, you know, with anything. So, but he was quite supportive. Yes and no, 50-50. But then, of course, he was also quite a young man at the time, and he also struggled with that. You know, you have this young bride, and she have all this ambition, and she's so stubborn.
Okay. just I like how you said it very slowly, because just a little bit.
Just a little bit stubborn, you know, determined.
Good. Yes. Yeah,
determined.
Be, you know.
When she wants to do something, he knows that she goes for it, and I don't want to interfere. And then, yeah, I mean, yeah, we're good friends, and we share a child, and
Okay, well, as long as things, I love the fact that things can be amicable. Things can still work out towards the end. So one thing I did want to ask you was, how did your parents react when you first told them that you, because I don't know how, I don't know why, but I kind of imagine you kind of like strutting in and being like, so I want to be a model. How did it go, and how did they react to you saying that?
Funny enough, when I was still at my mom's house, my mom used to go with me to fashion shows in colleges.
Okay, good.
When I was doing like free shows, you know, fashion designers invite me to do like for fun. So she always used to go catch the bus with me. My mom was very supportive. But my modeling properly kicked off when I moved out of home. I was an adult, I was independent, so they were like, okay, be careful. We hear so many things about the industry, but we trust you, blah, blah, blah. So.
Amazing. No, it's so nice that you can, you know, that your mom was super supportive.
She was very supportive.
I love that. That's amazing. So yeah, to the moms out there, we love you guys. But just support us in our dreams, honestly. Because look at you now. You've done so many incredible things, and sometimes it just takes that parent support to get to that point. So I did want to ask you as well about the industry as a whole in the UK. Being a black woman that came over, you know, again from Congo, coming here. How did you find it? How did you find that people reacted to you, responded to you? Were people kind of opening their arms up to you, or did you find it difficult? Just what was the industry like? Or what is the industry like even now?
The industry is quite very challenging, you know, and it's evolving as well, you know, through time. There's more opportunities out there for black models and so forth, but there's still big growth. Hence why mainly when I was modeling, I said it was because I'm not modeling that much at the moment. I'm just focused. My focus has really shifted, but I'm still within the fashion industry because I love fashion before even modeling itself. But yeah, so when I was modeling, really mainly, my focus, my clients were really like African. We're looking at Nigerians, Ghanaians, even most of the designers, magazines, even some of the places I traveled, it was mainly. So, and then I had a few jobs with like British clients, and then later on, after 3 years, then I got signed with an agency.
Okay, right.
So I did most of the stuff independent.
So you were doing it freelance?
A lot of networking.
Wow.
That's why self-confidence comes in, and positivity. You just have to be positive. You know, and obviously prejudice is there, discrimination and so forth. But however, it's what you believe. You know, if you have that positive attitude, you wake up and say, I'm gonna make it happen. You know, as I say, if there's not a chair on the table, bring a folding chair.
Yes, I love that. I love that. If there's no seat
at the table, bring a folding chair.
And you better place your chair there
and sit.
And take up your
even
space.
If it doesn't balance, even if
you're like lower down, but still you're still looking up and you're still a part of that table. I love that. I really love that.
So it just comes down to really persevere and be good with people, you know, and communicate very well, and have a great network, and attend a lot of free shows, and do a lot of free shows, do free photo shoot. That's why you meet people, because you need to build a portfolio so you can get paid job. That's what I tell most new models, because you can't just be new without experience and expecting pay. I mean, if you have an agency, yes. If you want to do it on your own, you gotta do a lot of free stuff and build a portfolio, and then start asking for money.
How long were you doing that, the free bit? Because I think we're in kind of a time where there's some people who work really, really hard, super hard, but then there's other people who work, so a lot of the times we're referred to as the microwave generation. Want everything to be put into the microwave, 90 seconds and it's done. So a lot of people want to skip those steps, but just let us know, how long were you doing free work before you even got, let's say, your first booking?
I mean, as I say, it all just depends, and everybody's journey is different. And also, you are your network. Okay, you are the people that you surround yourself with. See what I mean? So I started in 2011, and then in 2012, I was on my way to Congo to model, you know, obviously everything paid for and with a salary. See what I mean? When I modeled for Africa Fashion Week London, it was paid. It wasn't great, but it was paid. So I balance, you know, I'll do certain shoots or shows for free that I know that even if I'm not getting paid, however, attaching my name to that brand or to that show is going to bring me exposure. It's going to bring me something.
So it's about being smart as well then.
Smart and balanced.
Yeah. Just obviously making sure that no one's taking
Don't be
advantage
everywhere
of
and
you.
anywhere.
Don't expose yourself to everywhere. But if you feel like it's going to
benefit
you, then definitely go for it. That's amazing, honestly. And yeah, the advice that you've given, I'm sure will help so many people, because I'm sure people want to do what you're doing as well. So of course, I want to shift now a little bit. We've heard a bit about Lisette the model, which is gorgeous and amazing. But in 2000, if I'm correct, 2013, you founded Passion for the Motherland. Now, this is where your kind of humanitarian work, your activism starts up, and you've been very, very adamant to make people conscious of the stuff that's going on in Congo. But can you tell us a little bit more about Passion for the Motherland? What do you do and what it's all about?
No, absolutely. So basically, it all started with the whole modeling stuff. So when I started to model, and then you have few Congolese communities. Oh wow, we have our young sister over there doing modeling and stuff. So that it started attracting people to you. Then I met a few young women, and then they introduced me to an organization called Save the Congo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So joining Save the Congo as a goodwill ambassador did give me access to a lot of Congolese community and the whole activism community. So, and I met a lot of great people. And then in 2011 and 13, then I sat down with a friend of mine. I said, okay, how do I really? It's great that the job of you know, my role with Save the Congo and so forth, but how? What more can I do?
Okay, right.
And then he's like, okay, well, how about you use your platform as a model and the industry and actually perhaps organize a fashion show and then raise the money and then donate that money to the charity that you work with. So that way you're giving in more.
Right.
And it was a one-off thing.
Okay.
So I had
and this was the showcase, right?
This was the showcase, the first edition.
Yes.
I had no clue about organizing events, nothing. So he's like, oh, I know two lovely girls that can help you do this. So they came on board, enthusiastic, young and fresh, and let's go, you know. No budget, we're gonna make it happen, you know?
It happened. You know, when you have to do everything by faith, but that's when some of the most incredible things happen, honestly.
So we did it, it was great. It was at Amnesty International actually in Shoreditch. Nice. And we did it and it was amazing. And people was like, oh my God, we can't wait to come next year. I'm like, next year?
Next year? I wasn't even thinking that far, but okay.
So I'm like, yeah, great. So we sat down and like, oh great, we can do this again. And then boom, second edition. And then boom, third edition. And then 2015, my grandmother passed away, and and then I had to go home. And then when I was there, I started thinking even more, because every time a big life event happens, it helps you to think, and it changes your life. So that's why, you know, me, even when I give birth, it's like something new comes out of that, you know. So when my grandmother passed away, she was really amazing. She was a hero in my life. So when I went home, I started looking at the situation of street children. And because when my mom left me in the Congo, I was between homes, and I did experience the abuse, some of the stuff that children experience at home before actually running to the street. I didn't end up on the street because I eventually ran away when I was 11. I escaped the abuse. And but
would you be happy? Obviously, you don't have to if you don't feel comfortable, but would you be happy to share like what it was that you were going through or what you've experienced?
Yeah, of course. It's part of my story. It's part of what I aim to inspire people, so I can really, you know. But yeah, the abuse obviously included emotional, you know, neglect, you know, because you don't have your parents there, they're not taking care of you, physical, you know, and attempted rape. And so forth. So when I was age 11, then I couldn't take it anymore. Then I had to run away. So when I ran away, because I had a place to go, so I had my grandmother, who was really poor, but somewhere. So I had to run to her, and I stayed with her until I came to the UK. But however, many children on the streets of the Congo is that when they experience all those abuse, and when they do escape, they don't have nowhere to go. So what they do is they roam around the streets, they walk around until they get tired, and a group of kids find them, and you end up on the street.
Wow.
So with that, I was just observing, and I think because of my grandmother, I probably would have ended up with one of these kids.
Wow.
So then when I came back, I'm like, I found my cause.
Wow.
I'm gonna come back here, I'm gonna work really hard, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna do something for them. So from that moment, our organization became bigger. So we're no longer just organizing events, we actually had a mission to help the street children of Kinshasa.
So it was specifically, focused on street children
in Kinshasa.
Right.
In Kinshasa.
And so how did you do that? Was it the same format, having the fundraiser and then raising money for them, or did you do something different?
So we maintain that fundraising event because that's a platform we have created and is working really well.
Right.
And then the funds raising that will be going towards the project that we'll be building instead of donating it to different charities, because back then we didn't have our own. So now rather than starting straight up, so what we have started is doing a sponsorship where we sponsor street children, other organizations in the Congo that are working with street children.
Okay, right.
Those who are housing them and those who are educating them, so we're sponsoring with the little we can, but the main goal is for us to build a shelter center that's going to cater to them.
So this is like the main focus now?
The long-term goal.
Long-term project that you're focusing on. Wow. And just in terms of that impact, seeing these kids on the street, because I'm sure that there's a lot of people who don't really know what's going on in Congo, which is always amazing to be able to do things like this so that you can expose and really show people. But what are some of the conditions like? Like, where are these kids sleeping, eating? Are they what is the condition like for these children?
Dreadful. You don't even know. Children in this country don't even know what they have, how lucky they are. There are young girls as young as 8, 9, 10 are prostituting.
Wow. On the street?
On the street. Young boys, 10, 11. It's terrible. Wow. There's videos, I could send you videos. They're just on the street and it starts raining, they have nowhere to go, they're sick. I don't think about it, it makes me sad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry.
No, please don't, because even I'm feeling it now. And if you start crying, then I'm start crying, then it's all gonna be a mess, and then we just have to lock everything off. So let's not. But that is devastating.
Yeah.
Because, like you kind of said, it can happen to anyone. You know, while I was born here, it could have easily been me.
Yeah.
Or me and my siblings, or anyone. And I feel like a lot of the time there's this almost distance that we create, especially when you live in the West.
Yeah.
You're in the Western world. You know, there is a massive distance between the two worlds, and it's almost like that's happening over there. It's happening in Africa, which a lot of people just place as this one place. But what would you say to people like that? People who maybe feel like, well, it's happening elsewhere, so I'm not going to pay attention. What would you say to them? Yeah,
good question. I'll definitely get to that. But before I do, I'll make a comment that it's really terrible that our government are not protecting the vulnerable, and the most vulnerable are children, the disabled, the young mothers, and so forth. These are the people that should be priority. Like we see here in the UK, there's a social service, a social system that actually take care of children, because they are children who run away from home, they are children who parents kicks out, they are children who, you know, there's all sorts of, but there's something in place where there's people do what do you call them? You know when it's
shelters?
No, when you know when you're a parent and you want to take care of a child.
Oh,
adopt. There is adoption.
Right.
You know, So, like you see in different, you know, this part of the world in the UK where they do have these options. You know, there's adoptions, and you don't find children on the street like that. Right. You know, so it's just sad that it is like that. You know, but we can't just stand back and watch. So we have to do what we can, you know, to help them. I mean, for people here or young Congolese who are born here, and so I'll really encourage people to go back home. And yes, you live in the UK, yes, you have all this opportunity, but however, in your passport, it will say, you know, Congo, originally where your parents come from. In your driver license, you say that, you know. So, but you know, as much as we're British, we're also very Congolese, and we should be concerned and to really go back home and see how we can help.
Yeah, and I think that's even hit me because even with myself, there are times where you obviously you're living your own life, you're busy, you've got work, or you've got all these other things that you're doing, so it's so easy to get into this drift of life, and you're just living your life and you're not considering the things that are happening back home. And you mentioned something very, very specific, which I think I put a thread on Twitter actually. I was kind of ranting on Twitter, and it was about the government. Because obviously, while I'm not there, I hear stories. You know, you see different articles. Again, not put on mainstream media, but if you look at the right places, you find the information. So you've kind of explained before, government, there's not really any social you know, thing going on. There's not really anything organized. What do you think then can happen? So if you, Lisette Mibo, got the chance to literally be in government right now, where would you even start? That's my question right now. I know there's so many different questions there.
Why you have to put me in a spot like this?
What would you, do you know what? Because it's always very, very interesting just to know these things and to think about what we see, because at the end of the day, it's about the people.
Of course,
you know, that's how I see it. I see governments, they're supposed to serve, and it's about the people. So what, as the people, do we think the government should do about this, or should do about the conditions that people are in right now?
Of course. Any country, I believe you have to invest in children, because these are future leaders of that country. These are future lawyers, future doctors, architects, great, ambitious people in communication, you know, journalism and so forth. So you have to invest in children. You have to invest. It's really, really important. So investing in education, employment, entrepreneurs, it's really, really important. So if I was to give an opportunity to be in a position where I can influence policymakers, I could influence, you know, to change the laws and so forth, really, we have to focus in education of children, the young people, and the parents as well, and the women. Because we can't cater to the children without the mothers. You know, because these children, yes, you can take them to school, but they need to eat. The basics needs have to be met. Because you can't focus if you haven't ate. You can't focus if you don't have somewhere to sleep and to do your homework. You can't do it in school if you don't have a shelter. So the basics have to be met. And that it means reaching out to the whole of the community, the mothers and the families. So.
Yeah, and one thing that I definitely want to reiterate as well, and reiterate to everyone that's watching this, is that of course, while there's always one narrative portrayed of certain countries, especially African countries, we know that Congo is a very beautiful place also. So I also want us to, as we kind of close up a little bit, just to let us know some of the beautiful things that you also see, because of course this is a platform where we want to challenge the kind of the narratives that exist as well. And while there are issues and there are problems as well, I know for a fact there are so many beautiful things as well. Congo. So just a couple of things. What would you say? Okay, let's say your top 3 things about being back home, about Congo, about maybe the culture, food, I don't know, but what would you say are like the best 3 things about Congo?
Oh wow. 3 is just so small and just so like
sorry,
5.
We'll limit it for now, 3, but just 3. We know there's a lot more, but what would you say are the top kind of 3 things that you particularly love about you know, Congo, DRC, Kinshasa, whichever one?
Culture. So culture, music, fashion, art.
She's gone to 4, but it's okay. It's alright.
It's amazing, you know, the people are welcoming, and it's just, and it's not, the countries, there's challenges, but there are also people living. There are people living, and there's beautiful hotels, there's beautiful place you can go and visit and do tourists. We don't have many beaches, but we have a place called...
But there's a few.
Kinkole. Okay, if you go to Kinkole, it's beautiful, sand, music. Yes.
I love it. And you get constant sun. Vitamin D always, whereas here it's a bit cold.
Life is very, very cheap there as well. So you can buy so many things, you know, African print like we love. You know, we're here for the culture, you know.
Always representing. And
so when I go home, I'll buy a lot of African print stuff and I bring it here. Even I also encourage local businesses. So I encourage local designers and they make my clothes and I pay them and I bring a lot of clothes here. So.
So what would you say you envision, let's say in maybe 5-10 years time, for yourself, both model, but also as a humanitarian and as an activist with passion for the motherland? Where do you see yourself? What do you see happening?
We are a work in progress, and you know, with any organization, you have your short goals and the long-term goals. So as I said, our mission have changed. We're now aiming to build a shelter center. We aiming to work in an education program and continue to support other struggling organizations on the ground. And here in the UK, we continue with our annual fundraising event, which we have one coming in September.
Amazing.
First week of September, we have a fashion gala. It'll be very quite small.
Do you have a date set for that?
We're still working on that.
Okay.
I'll definitely let you know.
Let us know, and then we'll get it all out through our socials and everything.
So we have that first week of September. And and just continue to spread the word and continue to network. I have a lot of networking to do, meeting a lot of people, speaking and pushing myself forward, the organization as well as Congo, because everywhere I go, gorgeous as you are, what great thing you're doing with your platform, be educated, be bold, this going forward, because you are very exposed to all different cultures and backgrounds, but you're not just going there as Nisi, you're going as a Congolese girl. Oh, that Congolese girl.
Yes.
See what I mean? And we need a lot of young people like yourself, and we need so many. Look at the Nigerians, look at Ghanaians, and look at them for inspiration. They're doing great, and we can't really compare to them because their first generation is not our first generation. It's too different. The opportunities they have had is not what we have. We are sort of the pioneers. Our generation, the second generation of Congolese in this country, we are pioneers. We're starting up. And I believe we are gonna also help those are gonna come up. So it's hard when you're starting something.
Yeah.
But we going somewhere.
You have to lift as you plan. But you're just going to continue growing into the beautiful, amazing woman that you are. And you're a mom. I find it so crazy that you juggle all of these things. But before we go, because I know that I could literally talk to you forever. But before we go also, you mentioned just before we started recording that you started in a new venture as well, in the more blogging kind of sphere. Blogging, fashion blogging. You're even thinking of vlogging as well, doing a bit of YouTube. Give us a quick breakdown of that and where you see yourself with that. Is this something new? Because I feel like you should have done this ages ago. I feel like I should have even said, but I feel like this is something, it just makes sense for you. But how did that come about?
Timing is very important, doing things at the right time, and it's really, really important. And so as I said, mentioned earlier, I'm not really modeling as much because my priorities have kind of changed. But I still want to remain in the fashion industry because I don't do fashion, I am fashion. I just used to say. It's a quote that I stole somewhere, but I forgot who said it.
Well, don't worry.
I think it's Chanel or somewhere.
You said it now. You need to say it one more time just so that people can just hear.
I don't do fashion, I am fashion.
I don't do fashion, I am fashion. I love that quote.
So basically I want to remain in the fashion industry, and have an opportunity to do fashion blogging is I can express myself, to really show my character, to come through my clothes, to know how I express myself. So I've started in social media, my Instagram and Facebook, just keep posting just to build up the traffic, to build up the, and then eventually, hopefully by the end of the year, I'll launch my website, and then eventually I'll go into YouTube, which is also another milestone.
All milestones. I love it. But no, thank you so much for joining us today. Honestly, you've inspired me, you made me laugh, you made me nearly cry. But I'm glad that we didn't, because all of this is looking quite cute. So and you're looking great. But no, thank you so much for sharing everything that you are doing. We will definitely stay in touch. Let me know when the event is as well, and we'll share that.
No, absolutely.
Just before we wrap up, if people want to find you, they want to, just stay in touch with you, see your journey, even stuff that you're doing with Passion for the Motherland, how can people do that?
Yeah, great. Basically, you can find me on social media as Lisette Mibo.
Okay.
On Twitter, on Instagram. My Facebook page, I have my blog, is called The Stylish Mom.
The Stylish Mom.
Yeah, The Stylish Mom. You can be mom, busy, but you can't let go. You have to be stylish and take care of you, go to the gym, have your trendy stuff going on. It helps your self-confidence. You have time to be you and enjoy yourself, feel good, not be frustrated and angry at your kids and your partner because you're not looking cute. So we don't want that. No, we don't. Good vibes only. So
love it. Good vibes only.
So my Facebook, The Stylish Mom, and which also is going to be my website as well. But on Instagram, Twitter, website is Lisette Mibo.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much again. You have been gorgeous and amazing. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you also.
So as Lisette has mentioned, please do go follow her, follow all the bits and pieces that she's doing. As you can tell, she's an incredible woman with an incredible story. And of course, make sure you stay updated with all of the Passion for the Motherland stuff as well. If you do want to get involved, we will leave links, etc. in the description box below so you can get involved with that. But thank you once again for watching another episode on the Let's Get Deeper series. I'll see you again next time. Take care.
BEBB presents Let's Get Deeper with your host, Nitty T.